right? So boom, this is Ronnie Biggs. And Biggs didn't just rob a train. Like, imagine pulling off one of the biggest heists in British history, escaping prison with a rope ladder, getting plastic surgery in Paris, ditching your family in Australia, hiding out in Brazil with a stripper wife and celebrity guests, and somehow turning all of that into a brand. Yeah, that's Biggs. But let's rewind. Before he was Mr. Infamous Train Robber Man, Biggs was just a broke kid from Lambeth, South London, born in 1929, right into the tail end of the Great Depression. Great timing, really. He gets evacuated from London during World War II like most poor kids, but even when the bombs stop dropping, his problems don't. By age 15, he's already out here committing petty thefts, stealing stuff, getting caught, rinse and repeat. Eventually, he learns a trade, carpentry, and settles down, marries a woman named Charmian Powell, and has 3 sons. For a brief moment, he tries doing the whole normal life thing, but the bills don't care that you've gone straight. There's just one problem. Biggs is broke. Not I can't afford Netflix, broke. I'm talking no furniture, no savings, no shot, broke. So what does he do? He picks up the phone and calls a familiar name from his prison days, a guy named Bruce Reynolds. And Biggs is like, "Hey Bruce, can I borrow a couple quid to get back on my feet?" And Bruce hits him with the most unexpected plot twist of 1963. I ain't got money, but I am about to rob a train. And Biggs doesn't even hesitate. He's like, bet. And now he's gonna join 14 other dudes in pulling off one of the boldest robberies the UK has ever seen. Because this ain't just any train. Bruce is targeting the Royal Mail train. A big old metal tube full of letters, parcels, and millions in cold, hard government cash. See, back then, they didn't do digital transfers. They moved literal bags of money across the country on trains. And Bruce, he had a guy on the inside, a railway signalman, who could feed him schedules, stops, everything. So the plan starts forming. They build a crew, Biggs, Bruce, and 13 other guys, all ex-cons, pros, and wild cards. No guns. This is England, after all. But just ski masks, gloves, and iron bars. The mission? Stop the train, take the money, disappear. Easy, right? Alright, it's go time. August 8th, 1963, 3 a.m. sharp. 15 dudes in ski masks are hiding in the bushes like they're in a low-budget James Bond movie. And then they hear it, that metal-on-metal rumble of the Royal Mail train, packed with letters, packages, and somewhere in there, about 2.6 million pounds in cash. That's like 69 million pounds today. So Bruce's guy, the inside man, flips the green railway signal to red using some car batteries and wires. And when the train sees that red light, it starts to slow down, and that's when Biggs and the boys make their move. They leap out of the shadows like some low-budget mission, impossible team, masks on, gloves tight, adrenaline in overdrive. They climb up the sides, pry open doors, swarm the carriages like it's a coordinated dance they've rehearsed for months. And then, the first real problem, the train driver, Jack Mills, steps out to see what's going on, and before he can say, "Oi, what the hell?" one of the gang swings a metal bar right into his head. He goes down instantly, skull cracked, blood everywhere. He survives, barely, but the injury leaves him with long-term trauma, and that moment right there, that's what turns this from cheeky British heist to violent crime. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew isn't slowing down. They've got one goal, the high-value package car, the jackpot carriage, where the cash is stored in sealed Royal Mail bags. 125 bags of cash, 2 Land Rovers, 1 clean getaway. They drive to a remote farmhouse in Buckinghamshire, Leatherslade Farm, where they plan to lay low, count the money, and wait out the heat. And just to cover their tracks, they hire some guys to burn the place down after they leave. You know, no DNA, no evidence, just smoke. Except the guys they hired, yeah, they don't do it, they just leave. And when the cops eventually find the farmhouse, it's like a crime scene starter pack. Fingerprints, leftover food, board games, like they were hosting a sleepover for felons. Within weeks, the arrests start rolling in, and yep, Biggs is one of them. So Biggs gets sentenced to 30 years in prison. Game over, right? Nah. Biggs isn't that kind of guy. Just 15 months into his sentence at Wandsworth Prison, he's like, you know what? I'm out. And he literally builds a rope ladder, climbs over the prison wall, hops into a waiting van, and just vanishes. Next stop, Paris, where he gets plastic surgery to change his face. Because nothing screams definitely innocent like a whole new face. Then he moves his wife and 3 kids to Australia, trying to lay low under a fake name, working as a carpenter. But British police, they're catching on, they're getting close. So what does Biggs do? He bails, again, leaves his whole damn family behind, packs a bag, dips to Panama, then hops a plane to Brazil. And that, my friend, is how Ronnie Biggs became the most wanted man in Britain, while sunbathing in Rio. So now Biggs is in Brazil, and for once in his life, he's untouchable. Why? Because Brazil's like, oh, you committed a crime in the UK. That sounds like a UK problem. Plus, Biggs goes and does the smartest thing he's done this whole time. He knocks up a Brazilian dancer, and boom, now he's got a kid who's a Brazilian citizen. And under Brazilian law at the time, you cannot extradite the father of a Brazilian child. So just like that, Biggs levels up from wanted fugitive to protected parent. Incredible. Only issue, he's not allowed to legally work, because he's still a known criminal. So what does Biggs do? He becomes a celebrity. Like, literally. He charges newspapers for interviews. He sells autographed t-shirts. Tourists line up just to take pictures with the dude who robbed a train and got away with it. He even lands a coffee commercial, and I swear I'm not making this up. In the ad, he says, "When you're on the run like me, you really appreciate a good cup of coffee." And because the world is insane, Biggs starts hanging out with actual rock stars. Rod Stewart visits him. Sting swings by, and then the Sex Pistols show up and record a song with him called "No One Is Innocent." It becomes a hit. Biggs, wanted by the law, worshipped by tourists, featuring on punk albums. This man turned being a criminal into a brand deal. But you already know this story can't stay chill forever. One day, Biggs is just out here, probably sipping caipirinha, about to do another interview, when bam, a bunch of random dudes jump him, stuff him in a sack, throw him on a boat, and sail him all the way to Barbados. Because these guys, they think they're about to claim some huge reward money from the British police. Except when they get to Barbados, the authorities are like, yeah, doing radio interviews, sipping caipirinhas under the sun like he's not technically wanted for a major federal offense. But life, like karma, always loops back, and Biggs is finally feeling the weight of it. He's had multiple strokes. He can't walk without help. He slurs when he speaks. The rock star on the run persona is starting to look a little cracked at the edges. And as much as he loved Brazil, the warmth, the women, the way you could rob a train and still get famous, there's one thing Brazil didn't have: the NHS. Yeah, free British healthcare. And at this point, Ronnie's running low on money, time, and functioning body parts. So in 2001, Biggs does something that stuns everyone. The man who once climbed a prison wall with a rope ladder. The guy who had plastic surgery in Paris and ditched his whole family in Australia. The fugitive who literally dodged international police for decades just calls up the British embassy and says, "Hi, I'd like to come home now." So Biggs boards a plane, lands at Heathrow Airport, and within seconds, bam, arrested. Straight back to prison like nothing ever happened. Except this time, he's not 30 and cocky, he's in his 70s, half paralyzed. And prison, well, let's just say the novelty's worn off. And 4 years later, in 2013, Ronnie Biggs finally dies. Back in London, the same city he once fled from, now the place where he takes his last breath. Age 84, outliving the law, the press, and pretty much everyone who ever tried to catch him. So here's the thing about Ronnie Biggs. He wasn't a genius. He wasn't violent. He wasn't even especially slick. But what he was bold, brazen, delusional maybe, but undeniably charismatic. Biggs didn't just escape prison. He escaped normal life. He was the first and maybe only man in history to go from wanted criminal to beloved anti-hero. From train robber to international fugitive to accidental celebrity, Biggs didn't just break out of prison, he broke into history.